Hello and welcome to Plus TV Africa. I am Felicity Ezewike with the news on the hour. Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, Dr. Dakuku Peterside, has denied rumors that he has resigned from his position for political reasons. Peterside, in an exclusive interview with Plus TV Africa team, described the report as a childish attempt of disillusioned politicians. Our correspondent Maritime brings details.
Only yesterday, rumors broke that the Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, Dr. Dakuku Peterside, has resigned his position. This is an allegation that the DG has outrightly denied.
I've not resigned from NIMASA. I've not contemplated resigning from NIMASA because there's a lot of job to be done, and that's the mandate I have for now.
The DG, who was the former APC gubernatorial candidate in 2015, goes ahead to speak on his achievements as Director General.
For the first time in the agency, we are promoting over 1,000 staff in 2 years. For an agency where morale was low, persons have not been promoted for 10 years, we broke that jinx.
And on politics in Rivers State, Dakuku goes ahead to bash the Rivers State Governor, Nyesom Wike, over last Saturday's local government election, which he described as a fraudulent one.
Elections were conducted earlier. Chairmen and councillors were elected. Unfortunately, Governor Nyesom Wike, in his characteristic manner, dissolved the councils without any just cause. Governor Nyesom Wike proceeded to organize an illegal election, and my party decided to stay away from that sham. My party decided to stay away from that illegality, being a law-abiding party. He
emphasized that the PDP-led administration in Rivers State, led by Governor Nyesom Wike, has achieved little or nothing. There are speculations that the Director General, who is a former commissioner for works in Rivers State and a former member representing Andoni Opobo Nkoro Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, will be contesting the governorship seat of the state under the All Progressives Congress in 2019. I am Mary Chinda for Plus TV Africa.
Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom has called on the Minister of Defense, Maritime Ali, to apologize to Nigerians for demanding the suspension of the anti-grazing law in some states. Ortom, speaking in Abuja on Tuesday at the unveiling of the National Economic Council's National Livestock Transformation Plan, asked the minister to protect the interests of Nigerians rather and stop giving the impression that he was the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association spokesman. The governor stated that the defense minister should have left the issue to Audu Ogbe, who is the Minister of Agriculture. He pointed out that over 180,000 internally displaced persons were currently displaced in 8 camps in the state, and another 500,000 were living with relatives. The Minister of Defense, Dan Ali, had earlier this month called for the suspension of the anti-open grazing law in Benue, Taraba, and Ekiti states. The Nigerian Army says it has arrested 3 wanted militias who confessed to the killing of the Benue State Governor's Senior Special Assistant on Special Security, Denem Igbana. Igbana was shot at his home in the presence of his family in 2016. The commander, Operation Wellstroke, Major General Adeyemi Yekini, while speaking to newsmen in Makurdi on Tuesday on the major bombardment of militia camps in Benue and Nasarawa states, disclosed that the suspects were gang members of the wanted militia leader Twase Akwaza. Yekini gave displaced persons assurance of returning back to their homes, stating that the army was clearing all strongholds of the armed headsmen. The Conference of Nigerian Political Parties, CNPP, has urged political parties not to impose high nomination fees on aspirants in their respective primaries for the 2019 elections. The party's Lagos Secretary Olumide Oguntoyibo said imposition of high nomination fees for primaries will prevent emergence of credible candidates and limit participation. Oguntoyibo, who advised that the fees should be reasonable, as high as 5 million or 10 million would shut out competent people who cannot afford to pay, added that high nomination fees favored money politics at the expense of quality leadership. He urged parties to partake in efforts at sensitizing Nigerians to participate in the electoral process to avoid voter apathy. The Western Corridor rail line, crisscrossing 9 states and Abuja, covering a total of 1,402 kilometers, is to be completed in the next 36 months. Minister of Transportation Chibuike Amechi, who gave the hint at the Forum of China-Africa Transportation Convention in Beijing, China, said this will happen as soon as a loan agreement is settled between Nigeria and China Exim Bank. Amechi, who also spoke on other key projects, stated that the Lagos-Kano Railway project, when completed, will serve as an important distribution corridor between the major seaports of Lagos and the hinterlands. According to him, the successful realization of the rail line project will result in attainment of a high level of intermodal transport system. The federal government will, from June 28, 2018, commence disbursement of the $322 million loot repatriated from the account of Nigeria's former head of state, the late Sani Abacha, from Switzerland to Nigerians. This was disclosed to journalists by the national coordinator of the Open Government Partnership, Nigeria, and Special Assistant to the President on Justice Reforms, Juliet Ibekaku Nwagu. She said under a memorandum of understanding MOU with Switzerland, the money would be paid directly into the account of the poorest Nigerians through their various accounts for 2 years. According to her, the disbursement will be done through identification numbers that will be made available on a website being developed by the National Social Investment Office and the World Bank. The aide to President Buhari further added that the process will kick off from June 28, when the agencies working on the modalities will brief the public. She assures that the payment process will be transparent for civil society and the media to monitor. The police in Rivers State have confirmed the murder of a senior staff of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, John Ihanacho. Ihanacho was kidnapped last week by unknown gunmen in Oyigbo local government area, and ransom was said to have been paid to his captors. Police confirmed he was killed despite the ransom payment, and his body recovered from a shallow grave where he had been buried. The State Police Public Relations Officer Nnamdi Omoni says some suspects have been arrested and have confessed to the crime. They have since led the police to the shallow grave where the body was recovered. The Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, has sounded a note of warning against the killing of the 5 men convicted by a high court in Yola over the killing of a headsman. In a statement, CAN President Samson Ayokunle mentioned that it was not in support of jungle justice, but condemned the failure of security operatives to bring to book the killers of Christians in various communities in southern Kaduna, Benue, Taraba, Plateau, and Enugu State. Given the example of Eunice Elisha and Bridget Agbaime, who were both victims of violent attacks, he stated that the killers of Bridget, who were released by Kano State authorities, and the case of Mrs. Elisha's killer not being apprehended till date is a regretful situation. Mr. Ayokunle has appealed to President Muhammadu Buhari to intervene in the situation, adding that a legal team has been asked to study the judgment, ensuring no perversion of justice, also to prevent further reoccurrence. The convicted men, Alex Amos, Alri Fanuel, Jari Sabagi, Holy Boniface, and Jerry Gideon, who are all Christians who were sentenced to death for killing Amadou Buba, a Fulani headsman, in a reprisal attack. Justice Abdulaziz gave his ruling sentencing the men to death by hanging for willfully and intentionally attacking 3 headsmen, killing one of them. He said all interested parties to appeal the judgment within 90 days from his ruling. And on the foreign scene, more than 500 migrants and 1 corpse in an Italian coastguard vessel have arrived Sicily after a week at sea, waiting for Italian authorities to name a port for entry. Our correspondent Emmanuel Mwaka files us this report.
Italian coastguard vessel, the Chioti, docked in the Sicilian port of Pozzallo on Tuesday, 19th of June, carrying over 500 migrants, which included the corpse of a migrant who died in an attempt to make it across into Europe. 42 of the migrants on board were originally rescued by the U.S. Navy vessel Trenton, who rescued the migrants from the sea after their boat capsized nearly a week ago. 12 bodies were also recovered. Since then, the survivors, along with hundreds of other migrants rescued in separate incidents, have been out at sea waiting for the Italian authorities to name a port for them to dock. The United Nations Head Commissioner for Refugees, through its communications officer, Marco Rotuno, said the survivors were all in very delicate psychological states due to the time they spent at sea.
They are in terrible conditions, not only medical conditions, but psychological conditions, and they really need the urgent medical care and psychological care. We were very worried because after these people were rescued, along with the other people that were rescued in the other events, there was a long delay before people could reach a safe port.
The new Italian populist government has shut its ports off to rescue vessels. One of the vessels was forced to disembark more than 600 migrants in Spain last weekend.
Eritrea has begun taking steps to begin peace talks with arch-enemy Ethiopia after talks of constructive engagement have been suggested by new Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. This serves as a step in what could be a breakthrough in one of Africa's most drawn-out conflicts. Eritrea and Ethiopia have been after a 1998 to 2000 conflict that can be compared to the First World War. Although the death toll is disputed, most estimates suggest 50,000 Ethiopian soldiers died, while as 20,000 died on the Eritrean side. However, incumbent President Abiy, a young, dynamic former soldier, wants to push for an economic and political reform drive since beginning his administration in March. Earlier this month, he shocked Ethiopians in a dramatic move to honor all the terms of the settlement between the two countries. There has been no response yet from Eritrea, who remains one of the most closed countries in Africa. Riek Machar, South Sudan's rebel leader, has arrived in Ethiopia ahead of the long-awaited meeting with South Sudan's President Salva Kiir. The meeting comes as part of talks to try to negotiate an end to an ongoing civil war. Machar's arrival had been confirmed by an Ethiopian government official and is also scheduled to meet Ethiopia's Abiy Ahmed ahead of his talks with Kiir. The Kiir and Machar meeting is due to take place on Wednesday and will mark a change in history, as it will be the first since the collapse of the 2016 peace deal. All parties to the conflict have been accused by the United Nations of crimes against humanity and civilians. Google has recently removed the Uber feature that allows you book rides running on Android operating devices on the robust Google Map apps, which was a privilege as other ride-hailing apps were not able to use this feature. The reason for this decision is not quite clear. However, there are speculations that since Alphabet, Google's parent company, recently made a large investment in Lyft, Uber's competition, which has been giving the company a run for its money, it is not unlikely that enlightened self-interest might be the major reason for Google's decision. In any case, customers can still book Uber rides as of now, but they wouldn't be using the Google Maps anymore. And in business, hackers made away with more than $30 million worth of cryptocurrencies from South Korea's top Bitcoin exchange, causing the unit price to fall around the world on Wednesday. The virtual currency was priced at $6,442 later afternoon in Seoul, down about 4.4% from 24 hours earlier, after the latest attack on Bittrex, the largest virtual currency exchange in the South, raised concerns over cryptocurrency security. South Korea has emerged as a hotspot for virtual currency trading. At a point, it accounted for about 20% of global Bitcoin transactions. All deposits and withdrawals have been indefinitely suspended for security purposes, and the losses incurred would be covered from the firm's own reserves. This attack comes just 10 days after Seoul-based Conrail was hit and hackers stole 40 billion won. Conrail has since suspended services. For many years, Chinese companies have pumped in money into various investments in the United States, further strengthening ties between the two countries. But according to a report by Rodian Group, Chinese investments between January and May amounted to only $1.8 billion, showing a 92% drop compared to the same period in 2017, making it its lowest level in 7 years. The drop comes amid trade wars between China and the United States. Trump imposed tariffs on Chinese products worth at least $50 billion, and is said more tariffs would be imposed on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of goods if the Chinese do not bow to U.S. demands, to which China retaliated. In the meantime, the regulatory environment for Chinese investment in the United States have become much tougher. Tokumbo is up next with entertainment news.
And in entertainment, Black China and her 19-year-old rapper Toy Boy Jay Almighty have been in the news for the past few weeks. First for her alleged pregnancy, then their alleged breakup and makeup, also for the disclaimer of China's pregnancy, which was alleged to be fathered by Jay Almighty. It seemed like all was going smoothly until waves rocked the China boat, as Jay Almighty has taken to his Instagram to disclose he's no longer with Black China. The couple only dated for 3 months when they revealed they met on Christian Mingle earlier this year and were first spotted together at Pin's Bowling Alley in Los Angeles in March. Remember, on June 12th, an American media agency reported that China wasn't pregnant but just bloated. Black China fans are still awaiting her comment, as she's still yet to speak on the breakup. The hip-hop community hasn't gotten over the death of fast-rising rapper XXXTentacion, who was shot dead in an alleged robbery where news broke about the murder of another young talented rapper, Jimmy Wopo, who was shot in a driveway shooting in Pennsylvania City the same day as X. It was reported that the young rapper was shot as he sat with a friend in a car. Both men were hit and rushed to the hospital, but unfortunately, Wopo, who had just signed a major record deal, didn't make it. The hip-hop community mourns as their fallen soldiers. Black Panther star Chadwick Boseman was at the MTV Movie Awards to represent Black Panther, which gained 7 nominations at the award. Chadwick personally won the Best Hero Award and directed his thanks to the fans, who he claims made it a phenomenon. In his speech, he said real-life heroes should be honored. Following this, he called out James Shaw Jr., ushering him to the stage and handed him the Best Hero Award, to the surprise of everyone. James Shaw is the man who tackled and disarmed a gunman at Waffle House in Nashville back in April during a fatal shooting. This was a very commendable gesture, and many thought it restored faith in humanity. And that's it on entertainment. Up next is Udoka with the sports news.
Hello and welcome to Sport Update on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko. Well, we're looking forward to the games that will be going down today in the FIFA World Cup, talking about the Russia 2018 World Cup, and Spain will be up against Iran and will be looking to gather all 3 points to stand a chance of getting into the round of 16. And for that, looking at injury updates, Dani Carvajal has been declared fit for today's game, and this was revealed by the coach of the side, Fernando Hierro. And switching over to basketball, the senior men's basketball team, the Tigers, that's representing Nigeria, will resume camp in Lagos ahead of the second leg of the first round of the African qualifiers of the FIBA World Cup African qualifiers. A total of 8 players, along with the head coach Alex Nwora and assistant coach Ogo Odaudu and team manager Musa Adamu, have arrived in Lagos. And as part of preparation for the qualifiers, the Tigers will play friendly games against Cote d'Ivoire, who currently sit 4th place in Group Group D of the African qualifiers on Saturday 23rd and Sunday 24th in Abuja. And the team will also play Gabon and Republic of Benin on the 26th and 27th of June, respectively, before heading back to Lagos. Then moving over to transfer news, West Ham United have secured the signing of French under-21 international defender Issa Diop, and the Toulouse captain joins the Hammers on a 5-year deal for an undisclosed fee to become the London club's second signing of the season after Ryan Fredericks, who was signed on a free transfer from newly promoted Premier League side Fulham. And for Issa Diop, he scored 3 goals in 41 appearances for Toulouse last season. And West Ham United reportedly saw off competition from Everton and Sevilla to snap up the defender. Still on the transfers, West Ham United continue to be very busy in the current transfer window following the news that Lukas Fabianski has joined the Premier League outfit to become their 3rd summer signing. And the Polish international goalkeeper seals a move to the Olympic Stadium from Welsh side Swansea for a reported fee of about £7 million after penning a 3-year deal with the club. And Fabianski will replace England's goalkeeper Joe Hart, who spent last season with the Hammers on loan from Premier League champions Manchester City. And for Fabianski, he is currently with Poland at the ongoing FIFA World Cup, and he excelled at Swansea City during his 4-year stay at the club. And he joined the Liberty Stadium club from Arsenal, and he had more saves than any other Premier League goalkeeper in that 4-year period. He was named the Welsh side's player of the season, despite failing to prevent the team from suffering relegation. But that didn't stop him from leaving the club in the bid to return and retain his status as a Premier League player. And still on the transfer window, Arsenal have signed goalkeeper Ben Leno from Bayer Leverkusen, and the 26-year-old joins the Gunners in a reported £20 million deal after penning a long-term contract to become the club's second signing after Stefan Lichtsteiner. And the six-cap German international spent the majority of his youth career at Stuttgart before joining Bayer Leverkusen in 2011, and thereafter became the youngest goalkeeper to feature in a Champions League match against Chelsea at the age of just 19 and 193 days. And on his latest acquisition, head coach of the side, Unai Emery, he said he is very pleased that Ben Leno will be joining the team, and he looks forward to start working with him in the preseason. And Arsenal have also confirmed that former Arsenal goalkeeper Jens Lehmann would no longer be a member of their backroom staff. Switching over to tennis, defending champion Roger Federer extended his unbeaten run on grass to 17 matches by beating Slovenia's Aljas Bedene in the Hale Open first round. And 36-year-old Swiss, who reclaimed the world #1 ranking by lifting the Stuttgart title last week, won in 2 straight sets, 6-3, 6-4. He dropped only 8 points on his serve as he triumphed in 71 minutes. And for Roger Federer, chasing the record-extending 10th title in Hale, he faces Frenchman Benoit Paire in the second round. And Federer's most recent defeat on grass was against Tommy Haas in Stuttgart in June 2017. But that's the best we can take in our sport update on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko. Back to you, Felicity.
Thanks, Udoka. And that's it for the news at this hour. My name is Felicity Ezewike. Join us again.